really quick because with these downloads, I'm Page of Cups. The way I'm reading cards is changing. High Priestess has been working on transplanting my style, my knowledge. It's crossing different modalities of learning as far as oh, sorry, Temperance, right? Ace of Cups, Chariot, Three of Swords. So I want to show you guys something really, really, really quickly. I'm glad the Magician popped up because what it's saying to me when I was just looking at the cards today, they started to speak on life in general. They weren't speaking on a specific situation. And the shit just was mind-blowing. What was popping into mind, what was coming into mind, what was being downloaded. So with what you have thus far, right, when it comes to these different variations of emotion, right? You know what this feels like, it doesn't feel so great. You know what that feels like, it doesn't feel quite your taste. You dealt with this. You have these varying degrees of emotion. That's what the tarot tends to show you anyway. They're varying degrees of the different elements that you hold within a specific. It's very micro, right? But generally, when there's a general reading done, they're going to speak to a macro stage. They're going to speak to a collective of, and the variations affect everyone differently. Of course, this is why they're general readings and not very, very intricately specific, because they're looking at Sagittarian energy, and a lot of times they're looking at the big picture versus the minute details Gemini season that everybody is fucking missing, right? So you have this opportunity to feel a feel. It's like you're posed with all these different variations of the same cup, okay? All the different flavors, all the different soft drinks, whatever the fuck it is, right? And you know what you prefer. But this is something you haven't tried. This is a new flavor or a mix of both, two different flavors that you like, and you can create a new flavor from it that you've never palated before in combination. So you have Chariot here. Two things that seem different. Two things that seem different. And when they come in close proximity, they create a nuance of something more profound and something newer. So it's not that you've never tasted life quite like this. So this is where you break the mind. You break the thought that you can only taste this. You can only flavor this. You can only palate this. Like, this is the only thing that is appealing to you. This is where you break the mind's stronghold. What you perceived, this heart itself is what you contained within to say, I like this, I love this, I prefer this. And what these swords have done is giving you a release so that you can expand your thought, your feeling, your palate to something that is handcrafted. Okay, this is something, what they call the suicide drink. When you go into like a fast food restaurant and you mix all the different flavors of drinks together and you come up with a brand new combination that you probably can't make the same twice. That is pretty much what we're having here. This is almost like a recombinant dynamic where you're taking two different things and combining it and creating something that hasn't been made before. This is why it's a little intimidating. This is why it's brand new. Please. Anyway, so when it comes to this whole 717 thing, and I do want to touch on that very quickly because I see I'm still getting a lot of comments on that video. A lot of people are experiencing their own 717. To me, this is one half of the process with here. This is actually the holy grail here. This is why the breaking is so fucking powerful. You have to break it open, because otherwise you'll have a preference that says you want to go left. You'll have a preference that says you want to go right. Combine the two. Create your own mixture. This magician, he's not using tools that you can go pick up at a botanical. He's not picking up tools that you can. This is like every ritual. This is like every presentation. You can buy, 10 people can buy the same outfit, but the way that you put it on, present it, and accessorize it will be completely different. Same with food. 2 people can make the same shit and it tastes different. Same ingredients, same amount. It's what you put into it, right? It's how you combine, how you temper, how you assert these things into cohesion that makes the difference. This is what the breaking is for, because you're taking a natural process, you're taking an experiment, you're taking a, a, a task, and you're doing it in a way that is unique to you. It cannot be told how you do this. So if you're coming to these readings and you're seeking solution to your problem, you're already lost. You got to meet me here. You have to come here. Meet me here. That's when we can figure out what your variations are, what you're using. Because from that, then we can find the possibilities to what gets created. You have to know what you have in order to know what you can make. You have to know what you have first. 5 of Pentacles came up while I was doing a pre-shuffling, and that tells me that a lot of people are so consumed with what they do not have that you won't have shit. You can't see what you have. You're not recognizing what you have. It's time to sit your ass down. This Knight of Wands just went flying, right? So quick to give up on something that doesn't look like anything you've ever seen. So you're ready to ditch the effort. Okay, I saw, it wasn't quite what I expected. It's not going to be. It's not supposed to be, because it's something that you have to create. So you're not going to recognize it as something. There's no example outside of you that's going to tell you that it's correct. It's something that you're going to feel innately. And the Ace of Cups is going to tell you you're headed in the right direction, on the right track. This Star card, this Temperance card, they're backing it up. They're showing you. They're showing you. There is more than one way to skin a cat. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, don't abandon it. Don't abandon it. Don't give up on it. You know what I'm talking about. Don't give up on it. Because it's difficult. It's difficult because you've never done it before. So how can you say it's difficult? It's new. To say it's difficult, you have no blueprint on how it's supposed to be done. So you're creating the process. It'll be easier for everybody else who follows your example. But it's never been done before. The fuck? Of course it's not going to seem simple. You're creating something. It's not as if you have a how-to guide or a fucking instruction manual. You don't read that shit no way. You just get into it. Let's get into it then. All of this, you feel like you don't have enough information. Like, even in your mind, you're withholding the keys. It's like, this is where you check your own thinking. This is where you catch yourself. You catch yourself lying to yourself. This is where you catch yourself doubting yourself. All these conflictual thoughts and shit like that'll have you confused and sitting in a bind, this is where you overpower the mind and you say, hey man, that's not my thought. No, I don't feel like this. Man, fuck that shit. You turn it around. This is where you take complete control of the mind. This is not a Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini coming in doing something to you. This is where you let your mind assume that these thoughts can deceive you. That is a choice. You're not going to use thought to combat this thought right now. You're going to use will. You're going to use emotion. You know better. You feel better. You will for better. Okay? The very thing that wants you to sneak off, ride off on your own success is because it feels hard and it feels like it's a lonely ass time. Even if you're in a room full of people and it's just telling you that everybody has to start taking those pieces one by one by one. What do I have? What have I experienced? What has that given me that no one else has? That is your edge. That is what takes you from planning to actually molding something into fruition. So take as much time as you need, but understand those three swords that broke it open, that vessel, that heart, the way you think, what you love, why you love it, your preferences, everything you've been taught, everything that you perceived up until now, everything that you thought was your foundation did not truly belong to you. It was taught to you that way. So now is the time to break open the mold, Three of Swords, and that's where you see seeping right below in your authenticity what you think, King of Swords. What does truly belong to you? Out of all you've been given, you can make something of it. Queen of Wands, this is where you get your creative juices flowing and you actually transform some shit. More than meets the eye, of course. It's prime time to just do the shit. Just get it done. Like, yes, it's difficult. It's more comfortable here than here. It's like, man, I've been sitting and simmering in this shit. Like, this is like, you've lost your sense of taste, right? So I'd rather use my sight. I'd rather see the visual things because all these things that are sitting in front of me, I just don't want to keep trying new things and not liking them, trying new things and not liking them. And the shit is getting overwhelming. And it's like, okay, well, I know what does work and I know what is fruitful. So I'm just going to keep focusing on that. Thing is, you're going to have to go through these tastes. You're going to have to taste all of these fucking tastes to understand why something is not palpable, why it is not viable, why you can't create with it. So for all of you going through these stages where a person is cheating on you, a person is influenced emotions that seem damaging, disheartening, things like that, you had to taste it. It was very necessary. Very necessary. You had to taste the shit that you don't like. You had to taste what you don't like so you know what to make of it moving forward. You'll have all the wisdom you need to create from an informed place. You're making informed decisions. This is why the Chariot is so fucking vital. And then the star came out. I told you 717. Listen, as above, so below. That Hermit card, that motherfucking Magician card, as above, so below. Spiritually, etherically, your oversoul, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, it knows what you like and it knows what you don't. It is your ego and it is your physical presence here that has to catch up to what your spiritual your spiritual knowledge, your spiritual wisdom, the remembering, the recombination of who you are becoming and who you are now. This is what all of this shit is necessary for. You had to know what shit felt like from the inside out in order to build a discernment for it later on. So you know when it comes to that magician table and you have these 5 cups, you know that only 2 are viable. Out of the 7 of swords, 5 of them are thoughts that are useless to you, but in the memory bank for safekeeping, for reference purposes. You understand? When it comes to the 10 of swords, shit had to come to a completion. But there was one fact out of those 10 thoughts and 10 instances that you will be able to use. Just like the 4 of swords, after the breaking, there is a truth that emerges from it that cascades all of them. And it makes it so much easier, because when you approach those variations of the truth moving forward, you will have a recognition for them. And you'll be able to slice right through the illusionary aspect of it and get straight to the truth, because that's what you were able to sift and sort from the experience itself. I'm going to close with one final card. I don't know where this reading came from today. One final card gives me 5. Recombinant. What I said, right? There is a truth that the masculine and feminine aspect of you, Chariot, Temperance, Star, it's coming up. Just because this is true does not mean that this is not true as well. Just because this is a lie doesn't mean that everything is a lie. There are bits and pieces that are factual. That's what you extract, and that's what you create from. That's what you can combine. When I spoke about the 5 of Cups, and we knew that 3 were useless, they were not. We're not gonna mix with those. We're not gonna match with those. We're not gonna use them in this new recipe. The 2 cups that remain are what we use to build a better flavor, a better component. The sun is coming out. That's injecting vitamin D. That's giving it nutrients. That's giving it a sense of sustenance that it did not have prior. And because of that, you'll see growth. You'll see it speed up in manifestation. The thing is, you can't see it growing and blossoming if you're watching it. Okay? So to be put upside down and you're not observing the world around you as is, you take a step back and you pause. I told someone this today, someone very significant. I said, for a moment today, when you get a second, stop what you're doing, take a break, take a pause, pat yourself on the back. People are always noticing the chaos and confusion around them, and usually because that's what they're feeling internally, that's reflected within, right? But to see the true growth of something that's been watered, that's been getting sunlight, it's growing even when you're not even noticing it. When you take that pause and give yourself that pat on the back and you're proud, then you can see, like, damn, that plant is growing bigger than I expected. I haven't been paying attention to it. I did not see that sitting right there. I did not see that sitting right there. What was I doing that I could not focus and I could not see? Then you get to the Merkaba. When you start to unlock these levels and these awarenesses, these synchronicities that are coming out in plain sight, that have always been there, but the awareness is opening. It's breaking, awakening is what I wanted to call it. It's been on my mind for a couple of days. Anything else? King of Wands. I just saw the Queen of Wands too. You're about to feel something you have never felt before. Seven 117 with the Queen of Cups. You're about to feel something you have never felt before. And it's a combining of two elements that you have within you. I'm about to cry. This is water and earth, and they're both being watered at the same time. Just consider these two animals, one that thrives on water, one that thrives on land, but they're being fed by the same source. And that's what makes this so powerful. Oh my gosh. It's it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. A holy grail here. It's what the Queen of Cups is holding. I'm trying. I'm really trying to hold it together. I'm trying to hold it together because it's when you can see it, when you can see that things happen for you and not to you, when you can separate the displeasure and the discomfort from what you're gaining, what you're actually gaining, then you see how abundant, how prosperous, and how wealthy you really are. These look like two separate people, two different people, but they're both crowned by the stars. You see that? I've never seen that shit before. And even with all this armor, they're the same. This is what motivates a person in their naked truth. And this person is driven by truth, by what's innate. This is truth. And it's been given to them both. Look at this here. I want you to see this. That there, that wafer there, they both have it. And that's why it's necessary. I'm about to go. It's eternal, though. It's eternal. And this is what keeps the balance. This is what keeps everything from just going to shit and everything being torn to shreds. This is the element. This is what makes us human as a living organism, just eating, shitting, working, ecosystem, biosphere, whatever. And this is the part that connects us to spirit, where we know. We know better, so therefore we do better. And that's something that's innate. That's why it's eternal. This is something that this sits between the one who is naked and the one who is considered walled up, shielded up, ready for battle, whatever. There's an understanding between two polar opposites, between two vastly different things, that they are more similar than they even know.